Waiting for it to record. Okay. All right. Welcome everyone to another episode of the Kasanova. Well, not actually. I messed up my podcast name. I keep ever since I changed the name of the podcast, I keep forgetting to update that. Anyway, welcome everyone to another episode of the Mekel Kasanova podcast, number one podcast in Hawaii. I'm your host, Mekel Kasanova, and I have with me the one, the only talent and art sensation, Xina. Xina, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Xina online. My name is Christina Aquino. I'm a digital artist. I'm also a graphic designer. I'm based out of California. I just moved to Atlanta, Georgia. I don't know. What else do you want to know?
Well, I mean, give us some background on your art, your digital art, and everything. Tell people where they can find you.
Okay, so you can find me on Twitter. My hashtag is XinaArt, XinaArt. Mm-hmm. Right now, that's kind of really the only platform I'm using. I also do Instagram, which is the same XINA _ art. But yeah, I do digital art. Career-wise, I do company identity, graphic design, things like that. But on the side, I do, what you see online, the FGC art, which is fairly new for me within the past year. So I'm really excited to be doing that. I've got a lot of good feedback from that. So it's been exciting for me to do.
Awesome. Yeah, your art is phenomenal.
Thank you. I really enjoy it. Yeah, I do a lot of different stuff, but definitely on Twitter, I share mostly FGC stuff because that's who I like to connect with the most on Twitter.
Cool. And speaking of which, what got you into gaming or becoming passionate about gaming?
Gaming. Okay, so it's kind of been in my family. My mom was a comic book collector and she did a lot of arcade games when I was little. So she was really into Galaga and Pac-Man and stuff like that. So that was kind of already, in my blood when my father was into really the racing games and airplane. What do you call those? The modulation? I don't know.
Oh, those mod kits.
Yeah, so he would do those online, and I remember he bought us the PS2 when we were little, my sister and I, and our first game was Spyro, and that man took over that game so fast, so it was really funny. He was definitely the video game nerd growing up, but he taught us a lot about, we played a lot of Mario when we were kids, and as I got older, all of my friends played video games, so it was kind of something that I got used to being around. And even though I didn't always play them, I loved watching them. Halo especially was wonderful for me. And what else? I think they played Dark Souls a lot, things like that. So I got into Halo relatively young, I think 17 or 18, and I played that for a few years. Pretty slim pickings when we were younger. We kind of stuck to games. So.
Hey, well, I know how it is. I was kind of the same way growing up to an extent, with the exception that I only got whatever my older brothers were able to get. So I got hand-me-downs.
Yeah. I guess that in a sense was the way for me too, because I kind of had to, I only knew what was shown to me. I wasn't exploring video games at the time. That's how Street Fighter was presented to me. I think the first time I heard about Street Fighter, I was 18 or 19 years old. And my friends had downloaded Puzzle Fighter. Have you heard of that?
Oh, yes. I remember that. Yeah. I remember that from back in, I think it came out in 96 or 97.
Yeah. They downloaded that as a joke one night. I think we were just having a party at the house and they downloaded Puzzle Fighter as a joke. And I was dominating everybody in that game. And they said, Christina, you'll never beat us in the real thing. And I said, what's the real thing? And they showed me Street Fighter. And of course they won. Mm-hmm.
So did you ever get the chance to watch any of those horrible Street Fighter movies, like the Van Damme one or the was it Kristen Crook?
Of course I did. Of course, yeah. I don't remember them very well anymore, but it wasn't maybe 6 months ago I watched the animated one. Mm-hmm. And it's okay.
What got you into doing illustrations and art?
you know, that's another kind of family thing. You know, my grandfather's an architect. I have a lot of graphic design cousins. So I kind of always wanted to explore that side. We kind of all have our own versions of art in the family. My sister's a really good singer. I tried doing singing. Okay.
Lies. I know you can.
But the art aspect, I tried it. I was terrible. I kept trying. I got better. And really, it just became more of a passion for me because I don't know. It's just there's something about wanting to create something that's in your head that I love being able to bring that to life, especially for other people, because I can do it for myself anytime, but not everybody's able to do it. So when I can do it for other people, it's just a wonderful thing for me.
Awesome. Yeah. And like with your art, like what triumphs and or challenges have you encountered in this art illustration journey?
I'll start with the yes. I had a lot of issues when I was younger with my competitive nature. When I was in middle school, I started doing art shows and competing. And I dealt with rejection a lot, which was totally fine because I was just starting out. But as I got into high school, I started winning all the time. And it became to the point where I felt like I had to do it. You know, I had to win or something. So my high school art teacher was always putting me in her classes and always making sure I was in the shows and everything. So that was a big issue for me when I would start branching out into like statewide competitions and shows, because you have much higher competition. And that became an issue for me for a long time. I get discouraged when I feel like I'm not doing my best, not because you feel like you're better than other people, but because you want to be good enough to win. You want to be the best version of yourself, you know? So I beat myself up a lot at that time, but I think what helped me triumph was that because my teacher pushed me so hard, I got better than I ever would have on my own, which helped me career-wise a lot, because out of high school, I got a job as an associate photographer. And that was really wonderful because I had no experience, fresh out of school. She just liked the fact that I had a good portfolio with art. I had done a lot of mediums in high school, like pottery and photography and things like that. So it wasn't just drawing. And so she hired me, and I ended up learning Photoshop that way. And I ended up going to school for that, which led me to graphic design. I was able to get a job. So it's kind of nice because even though I had issues with the competitive side and beating myself up in high school, it pushed me to find the triumphs along the way and get me where I am now as a graphic designer.
Awesome. Man, that's you gotta teach me how to use Photoshop effectively, because I can do the basic stuff, but the last time I was actually truly confident with Photoshop would probably be about 6-7 years ago. So yeah,
it's changed. It's always changing. I feel like you have to take workshops, you know, to keep up with it. I feel like every time I update my Photoshop, there's always something I need to refigure out and things like that. I get made fun of a lot by other designers because I actually really enjoy using Corel Draw. I get teased a lot for that. They're like, no, you're not a real graphic designer because you use that. But it's, you know, I haven't found anything I cannot do in that I couldn't do in the other programs. So it's a lot more user-friendly. If you're trying to learn graphic design, I think that would be a really good option.
Oh, wow. Do you do 3D animations as well, or 3D art?
I don't right now. That's something I would really like to look into at some point, but I have never tried that, actually.
Okay. Let's see. So what got you to become a fan of Pauline, and what about her as a character draws you to her?
So probably about 6 months ago, I really started playing, like to the point where I had been playing before, where I would just like try different characters and button mash and just have fun with it. But I knew about 6 months ago that the game was a lot more technical than I had ever imagined. I needed to learn a lot about a specific character, so I started trying different characters. I think I started with Ibuki, and I went with Cammy after that. All my friends told me to try Cammy because she was easy and all, you know, easy to win and everything. But I could not get the hang of them, not because I couldn't do the moves, but I just didn't feel comfortable with them. And I had been told so many times, don't try Pauline, she's not a good character. But I had seen players like Neon and Nephew play her and be able to come out on top. So I knew it's not just about the character, you know, it's about how you play her. And so I finally picked her up and I just absolutely fell in love with her. And I've been a fan of her ever since. So it was really about trial and error for me. But once I finally stopped listening to other people and what they should, you know, it's nice to get advice from other people, but in the end, you really have to go with what is more comfortable for you.
That's true, because I know, like, I run into that same situation with Street Fighter V. Like, when I first started playing it, I was a Ryu main, and it was hard for me to transition away from Ryu after Season 2, because I went to using Ken. And in Street Fighter 4, Ken was my main. I really didn't like the way he played in 5, but then I adjusted to it. And then after a while, I'm like, man, I'm kind of bored. And so eventually I picked up playing with Cody. And I know a lot of people were saying the day Cody dropped in that whole week, oh, he's trash. He can't win. He can't compete. And I'm over here like beating diamond ranked players and competing in tournaments and winning. I'm like, okay. I mean, that goes back to your point where you say like, you kind of like, you can take people's opinions, but it's still how you play the game, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I completely agree. They say that about Sakura all the time, that she's terrible in the season and stuff, but she was dominating yesterday in LCQ for a while. Yeah. So, yeah, I definitely think it's about how you can utilize them. And when you can utilize somebody that people don't think as well, it just goes to show how good of a player you really are.
True. Very, very true. So what are your thoughts on like how she plays in Season 3? Like, do you think anything needs to be improved with her or changed? Or
I definitely think that I have a lot of learning to do, but from what I've learned so far, I feel like she kind of has weak anti-air. I definitely have issues with her damage output is a little bit lower than I would like, a little below average. I have some issues learning some of the combos, but that's my own fault. That's something I need to work on. Right now I'm using pad, and I'd really like to use stick. That's just been a matter of timing that I haven't.
I thought you had an arcade stick.
I do have one, yeah. It's not in here, sorry, but yeah, I have one, and it's awesome. And I really need to get down and actually learn how to use it. I've tried a couple like a wreck, so it's something. Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, I've seen that before. That's awesome.
I just need one with me or Cody on it.
With me or Cody?
Yeah. Even because, I was talking to Michael Coleman, and he was saying, like, yeah, there's no merch for Cody. I'm like, I know, it's annoying.
You got to commission it from good artists. Yeah, have you ever checked, like, Etsy? They have things like that. That's, yeah. I mean, I don't know for Cody, but definitely people are out there willing to do it for you, for sure, even if you can't find it.
Cool. All right. So what about the FGC like draws you into it and makes you passionate about it?
So when I started watching the competitions about a year ago, that was what drew me in, was seeing the players, the passion in them. That's a big deal for me, is like seeing people, play out their passions. Wonderful. I was seeing players like Tokido that I didn't know any of the players at the time. So seeing people like that when you're first getting into it is really wonderful, because you see how dedicated they are and everything like that. And what drew me in the most, honestly, was getting my Twitter back. I had been on like a Twitter hiatus for a long time, and just getting into it and like posting things that were FGC related and seeing the outpour of like support and the community, like how involved they are with each other, is just absolutely incredible. I had no idea that it was something so massive and supportive. I mean, I've heard negative things from people, but I've never experienced it so far. So that's really.
No, I agree with you. Like I've heard a lot of negative things about the FGC for years, and it's kind of funny. I've never run into the negative aspect of it. I see a lot of the drama.
Oh, I see it. I just don't get into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what is like the local scene like where you live, like in the tournaments, or like the people in the FGC where you're around? Like how is that scene like?
It's wonderful. You know, I just moved to Atlanta from like the Bay Area, California. And the Bay Area, they had a couple things going on, but I think it was all relatively close to when I was getting ready to leave. So I never saw much of it. So coming to Atlanta, I remember the first local was like, I came like 2 months ago or something, and it was absolutely wonderful. There's such strong players there. They were super welcoming. I mean, you have like Neon and Piano Densetsu and Romanova. We're all here, and having such strong people all competing with each other weekly and monthly, it's really nice because those people are constantly teaching each other how to grow. And it's also really entertaining to watch the locals because you just really never.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
But you're friends with Piano Densetsu?
Yeah, we just met recently, and he's really nice. I like him a lot. He's a really good Sagat player. Plays Urian too, right?
I think. Yes, he does. What does he call it? Aegis Academics.
I don't know.
I think that's his like nickname for it. But yeah, he plays Urian. He's really good.
Yeah. No, he's incredibly talented. He was at LCQ yesterday, and we were very proud of him for representing Atlanta. Neon was there as well. So it was really nice to see people from our area because even though I was in California for 6 years, I'm from this area. So it's just kind of nice to see that representation there.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
So speaking of like FGC players, like how many or who all have you had the opportunity to meet, and like what are their personalities like?
Ooh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to remember everybody. Okay, I'm going to try. So I have not been to many events yet. Like I said, I'm still relatively new, but I definitely, next season is going to be wonderful for me because I'm going to try to get to as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
But I think my first event was NorCal Regionals in Sacramento, and I got to meet Dew. That was my first time meeting him, and he's super friendly, super sweet, very down to earth, humble guy. He seems like he's willing to have a chat with anybody who wants to approach him and talk. I actually don't remember this, but I met Tokido that night, and I was just told recently that I met him that night. I don't remember. Yeah, I was super new at the time. I didn't know the players and everything. So I don't even remember that moment. And that's terrible for me because I'm such a fan of his now. But I met Ricky and Sherry Jennings that night. They're both really nice. I haven't run into anybody that isn't wonderful already. So, but at Red Bull, I just got back from Red Bull not too long ago, last month, and got to meet CJ, which was really awesome because he was on such fire that day. He did well today. It was sad to see him get out, but he did really well. And just meeting all the players from Red Bull was really nice. I got to hang out with like Alex Myers and Dew and them, so it was a good time. Like I said, meeting all of them is wonderful. They're all really good people.
Cool. Have you ever thought about doing art for like udon or anything like that? Your art's phenomenal. That's what I'm asking.
I don't know what you mean. What is udon?
Like udon comics?
I haven't heard of that.
Oh wow! I'll show you some stuff.
Okay, yeah, show me. I interviewed for a position a few years ago with Dark Horse to do a comic, and I can't remember the name of the comic anymore that they were coming out. It was a new one that was coming out, and I didn't get the position. I was really bummed out about it, but it was just nice to even have the experience. And I haven't tried to do that since then, but I think I could possibly look into it again. I got really scared after that because they told me, your stuff is good, but you're trained in fine art and you're not comic enough. I don't know, like the illustrations were a little too realistic for them. They didn't have the comic look they were wanting. So, which, I understood. That's something I've never done a lot of illustration work before. So that being said, I'm starting to get into that a little bit more now. So I think I'd be a little bit less afraid to try to look into it again.
Well, you could also try out for like Funimation too. I know some people in Funimation.
I just heard about Funimation for the first time, and it's just like I'm amazed by it. It's really cool. Yeah, I definitely will look into that.
Cool. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Like, what are some of your favorite games to play?
Well, right now, really only Street Fighter. I just tried a few months ago. Tried Spider-Man, and it was cool. Got bored really fast. Yeah, the animation in it. I mean, just the effects were incredible, and that was really the best part about it to me. And that's the only reason I regret putting it down, because I just got a little bit bored with the game. But the storyline games like that, unless they're really crazy, I have a hard time finishing all the way through. But like tried Red Dead Redemption 2 and also put that down pretty quickly. So really right now with the time that I have, it's been Street Fighter 5 all the way. So, I mean, in the past, definitely my games were, I think in high school, I was really addicted to DDR, which is a simple game, but that was like my addiction in high school. And then in like college years was Halo for a long time. So I think in my early 20s, I don't know if you know, have you heard the sci-fi show Defiance?
Yes.
Oh, good. That's my show. And they had a game that came out with it.
Yep.
Yeah, I was addicted to that game for like 3 straight months, and I could not put it down. And finally, I got to the point where nobody was playing it anymore, so I had to just give up. But people were on it.
I was gonna say, like, I know for me, in being in my 30s and like working 40, 50, sometimes 60 hours a week, it's really hard to invest time in these super long games and super long story mode games, because it's like you have such a small window of time, and it's like I need to get in, I need the story to hit me, something to happen, because if it doesn't, it just falls to the wayside.
No, I completely agree. Yeah, for me, it's very difficult because not only do I have my job where I'm working with businesses all day long to make their businesses work, but on top of that, I take art commissions. So it's like in my free time, I'm usually working on other people's artwork. So it's hard to find the time. I have to sit down and actually make time to like go into Battle Lounge with friends and stuff like that and actually train. So really, storyline games are a big issue for me, trying to actually finish them all the way through.
Especially like Red Dead Redemption, that intro took a long time. Was it like 2 hours at the snow area at the beginning? Like an hour or so?
I don't know. My sister's husband had the game, and I think we sat down probably after he had been on it for like a little while. So, and then I picked it up and tried it. So I really don't know what part of the game it had like what time frame it was.
Okay. So what fighting game system, be it 3D or 2D, do you prefer or find the most fun and fluid?
So 3D to me is incredibly entertaining to watch. I love watching Tekken. I haven't tried Soul Calibur, but I like watching it. But trying to play 3D for me is very difficult right now. I'm so new to playing these games and understanding like the techniques that go into it versus just button mashing. So definitely 2D is my preferred way to play for now, but I love watching Tekken. I was at Red Bull watching a lot of the players. I had never really seen too much Tekken before because every time I go to my locals, I'm always watching Street Fighter. So watching that was really amazing. I really love the gameplay, like it's just incredible. But 2D is definitely for me. I really enjoy Mortal Kombat. I'll be playing that a lot when it comes out next year. So yeah, 2D for me for sure.
What did you think of that trailer for Mortal Kombat? I liked it except for the music. I had to mute it.
I didn't have a problem with it. I saw a lot of issues that people had with the music. I don't know. I didn't hate it, but I love the trailer itself. Was incredible. Yeah, I loved it. Yeah, I'm not a fan of 21 Savage, so.
It's like the trailer, the lead up to the intro part. I was like, "Oh, this is looking epic," and then I heard the music, and I'm like, "What in the blue hell?" Okay, not to knock 21 Savage, I just didn't think the song matched what we were seeing.
I've heard that a lot, and I can agree with that. I think when the first time I saw the trailer, I was so excited about watching it that I didn't even pay attention at all to what was going on with the music. But now after seeing it a few times, I can definitely understand where people are coming from.
Awesome. So, what are some projects that you have in the works that you are allowed to share?
Yeah, with FGC, I have a lot of commissions coming up. I'm really excited about some of them. Some of them are hilarious. I'm really excited. It's going to be a few weeks before some of them come out because it just, takes me a little time to get them done. But I'm also working on dabbling into Twitch overlays and doing that commission-wise for people too. I haven't done that before, so I'm really excited to try that. I've got a lot of interest in that so far, so I'm gonna do some samples and see how it goes and see what people like, and then if it works out, then I'll go for it.
Cool. So what advice would you give to fans or the audience here that would love to get into illustration and art and graphic design?
Just if you have the interest and you feel discouraged because you don't think you're good at it, just keep trying, because when I first started, it was a hot mess. I was terrible. I just loved it so much that I kept going and going and going. And you always find ways to improve, and I will always have to find ways to improve, because I see artists all the time that are so much more talented than me, and in a good way. You don't want to feel discouraged. You want to feel motivated to say, I can get there too. It's all, no matter how good you get, it's always going to be like that. So I just hope that people that are just starting out, don't get discouraged and don't give up, because it's such a pity when you see that happen. It took me years to get to the point where I am, and it's going to take me years to get even better. So.
And the type of equipment you use when you're doing your art, are you using like a Wacom tablet, or are you using an iPad Pro or a Surface Pro? What do you use?
I use the iPad Pro, and I use an app called Procreate. I think it's like $10 on iTunes, and it's wonderful. I've had some friends suggest some different. Sorry, there's someone honking outside my window.
Oh, I can't hear it.
Okay, good.
Don't worry about it.
I've had some friends suggest some other things, because if I'm going to be getting into illustration, it can be a little difficult to freehand that all the time when you have the options that Photoshop has with their app and everything, with the line connections and whatnot. I definitely want to look into that a little bit better, because illustration is something I want to try to work on a lot. Like I said, giving advice to people, this is something I'm new to, is the illustration part, the animation and stuff like that. So that's something I'm gonna have to practice a lot in and not give up in, because I just finished one, actually. I don't know if you'll be able to see it very well, but this has been at least like a week of work.
Wow.
A lot of work and practice, a lot of deleting and erasing and things like that. So that's something that you guys will see online pretty soon. I have a lot to do to it still. It's actually going to be a logo for a Twitch overlay, so that I'm practicing with. So
cool.
I'm excited.
What are the standard rates for your commissions?
It really depends. If it's something pretty simple, it can be like 45. If it's something a lot more detailed, it can go up to, in the 90s or hundreds. But that's really if it's it's going to take me like a month to do. I'm pretty quick with art. Like I said, this piece that I just showed you, it might have taken me a week, but I think more like 4 days, to be honest. I think I'm just being dramatic. Okay. The sketches that, I post on Twitter and everything, I may not update them all the time. It may seem like it takes me a lot longer, but a lot of times I just don't have time to work on them, and I need to sit down. So a lot of times the sketches that you see that are black and white probably take me about 6 hours total. If I were to sit down and start it to finish, it'd be about 6 hours.
Cool. Mm-hmm. And so for the work you do professionally, with graphic art, what do you have strict deadlines, or what is that like?
Oh yeah, it depends. It definitely depends. Sometimes you have clients that they just want something specific, I don't know, you could say, hey, I have a coffee shop and I really want you to do my logo, my signs, my menu, my uniforms, everything. And as long as it's done by June, I don't care, So they give me a day that they need it by, and I can have it done by then. But then you also have places like a hospital can need some promotional products for their event, and they need it that weekend, and you have to make it happen, or you have to say no. And I don't like to say no, so sometimes it can be some pretty hectic work.
Cool.
Yeah, it's fun.
Like, I can imagine. Like, that sounds a lot more fun than what I do as an analyst. Like, I'd rather do that. What you're doing. Let's switch jobs.
Well, yeah, the grass is always greener because you can you can have amazing clients, and then you can have some clients that'll call you at 3 a.m. and they don't care that they woke you up. So it just really depends.
Seriously?
Oh yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Cool. All right. Let's see. What else do I have? Let's see. What are you going to be at Evo next year?
I am going to be there if possible, for sure. I mean, I'm going to do everything possible to be there. The only reason I will not be is if work won't let me. So it's definitely going to happen.
All right.
I'm going to try to be at as many events as possible next season.
Okay. Next year, I will definitely be at, I think I'm going to go to Evo and next year's Capcom Cup. I should have a better schedule next year. Compared to this year. This year, I'm like, no, I can't go to this, can't go to that. I want to go to Capcom Cup, but then I can't because I had to work. So I was like, oh, damn.
I know, yeah, I wanted to go too, and it was in the middle of a move. So, I mean, there's nothing in here right now because I just moved in like 2 weeks ago. So,
you still haven't unpacked?
I know, man. It's crazy. I work too much. Yeah, no, I get to work from home, which is really nice. So my schedule is completely on my own time, but when I say, work could keep me from doing it, it just depends on deadlines. So, or me not taking the projects at that time. But, when you don't take projects, you don't get paid. So.
Very true.
Yeah.
All right. So my last question is, when are you coming out to Hawaii?
Oh, man, tomorrow. Can I come tomorrow?
Sure. Hop on the plane.
No, in all seriousness, I would 2019. Not only do I want to travel to events more, but I want to travel in general more. That's something that's a huge deal for me. I haven't got to do that in years, and I really haven't traveled many places at all. Like I've gone to South America and all over the United States, but not Hawaii and not Europe. So 2019, I want to make a lot of things happen. So Hawaii's on the list.
Well, let me know when you're out here. And so you travel to South America. So are you bilingual or?
For the most part, yeah. My dad is Colombian, and I learned Spanish, in school growing up because my parents were in the Air Force when I was little. So my mom didn't speak Spanish, and so my dad kind of drifted away from teaching it to us just so that my mom wasn't uncomfortable. So that's something I had to learn growing up. But I definitely understand my family and speak back with them if I need to. Yeah. So it's nice. I love going down there. It's really beautiful.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So I lied. I actually have one more question.
Okay.
Did you have fun?
With you, of course. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, and go ahead again, tell people where they can find you. Like I said, promote yourself, your links, what you're working on, and do you have a website?
So I don't have a website right now because it's down. I'm working on it. I will get back to you as soon as possible when I get it set up because I'm going to be changing the name of it. But like I said, you can find me on Twitter. Hashtag is XinaArt, XinaArt, and on Instagram, XINA__art. So far, that's about where you can find me right now.
Cool. All right. And with that being said, that wraps up another episode of the Mekel Kasanova podcast, #1 podcast in Hawaii. And Xina, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show. It's a true honor.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
It's going to be amazing because you'll be able to catch this episode as soon as this bus passes by. This bus is so... Can you hear that?
No, I can't, but you couldn't hear that obnoxious horn outside of my window just now, so I think we're good. That was crazy.
Every time this window here, because my condo is right 3 minutes away from Waikiki, so it's on one of the busiest intersections, and it's just crazy because when it's quiet, but for whatever reason, sometimes mid-afternoon, right now it's 4:40 in the afternoon, or usually randomly at 2-3 o'clock in the morning. It's so much traffic, and I also have a fire station right here.
Oh yeah, that's unfortunate.
So
that was in California for me. We had a fire station right down the road. Mm-hmm.
But people, you'll be able to catch this on iTunes, Google Play Music, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio. We're coming to iHeartRadio, and we signed a contract with Sirius FM Radio. It will be syndicated every week, every Wednesday and Thursday, starting next month. So, yeah, you guys will be able to find it there, the Mekel Kasanova Podcast. And with that being said, we'll catch you guys on the next one.